The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing Icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week with your host, Tomasz Fonseca, and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business, from $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters in Real Estate Marketing, Arter SEO.
Welcome to another episode of the Icons of Real Estate podcast, where we highlight top professionals who are making waves in the industry. I'm your host, Karen Roberts, and today we are joined by Mark Murphy, CEO of Northeast Private Client Group, best-selling author and host of the Hero of the Hour podcast, ranked among Forbes' top financial professionals. He's a leader in wealth management and emotional fitness. So let's dive into his journey and innovative strategies for success. So welcome to the show, Mark.
Well, thank you, Karen. I'm happy to be here.
So first of all, we'll share with the listeners what initially inspired you, or what inspired you to transition into financial planning and wealth management, and how did your background in finance shape that journey?
Well, it was interesting that, when you're a kid, you don't really, understand anything. So I went to the Kelley Business School at Indiana University, which is a top business school. And the company that I worked with initially, and before I founded my company in 1986, they offered me $1,000 a month, and that was $1,000 a month more than I was making. So I took the job. I was 22 years old. But pretty quickly after that, Karen, I'd say within a year, when I founded Northeast Private Client Group, I thought we would make money, or at least I hoped we would. I thought we'd be successful, or at least I hoped we thought we'd be successful. But this was really my vehicle to make other people's lives better. And I realized pretty quickly that what I could do is make a difference in the lives of all the people I could touch. And that was and that's how Northeast Private Client Group started. I think we're starting our 40th year in November.
Wow. Phenomenal. And well, someone like yourself, you're so passionate about multi-generational wealth. What personal experiences motivated you to help entrepreneurs create lasting legacies?
Well, I think that the interesting thing, it always comes back to your childhood, is that I would say I grew up dumb and broke in Suffolk, New York, and I saw my parents make a lot of bad choices around money, primarily in the sense that they would just spend more than anything that they made they would spend, and had literally no cushion, no anything behind them. And you realize that you realize pretty quickly that the people that were creating wealth had good values around money. In fact, one of the things that I regret from the very early part of my career, the first few years when I was very young, was that I would go into somebody and I would help them, and I would clean up a lot of debt that they had, or I would help them kind of restructure. I'd help them grow their business. I'd help them double or triple their business and restructure their business. But until they had good values around money, I actually was hurting them. It was more like giving an alcoholic a fifth of gin, or a drug addict an 8 ball of cocaine. And so the idea that ultimately that you realize that money was never math, it's always psychological. And you had to help people create good mindsets around money first before they could then make really great decisions with it.
And I suppose that's why your approach is combining emotional fitness with wealth accumulation, because of exactly that. That's why they say, don't they, so many people that win the lottery, it's not long until they're back where they were, because they don't have that emotional fitness, if you like. Is that why you're doing this?
I think that's also the case. But I would say one more. So I used to think we're the firm, as we're a firm that's known that helps people create multi-generational wealth. And I thought for a long time that was enough. But we just finished the holiday season not that long ago, and I don't know if one of my favorite movies, It's a Wonderful Life, with Jimmy Stewart, and clearly in that movie, Mr. Potter has multi-generational wealth, but I don't know too many people that want to be Mr. Potter. So I think that on top of that, I think you not only want to help people create multi-generational wealth, you want to help them create a life by design. So that when you ask an entrepreneur, Karen, Do I have work-life balance? They look at you kind of strangely and they'll go, I just have a life where I go from one thing I love to something I love more to something I love more than that. Um, and they aspire to have a life that's so great that they never have to retire from it, much less never have to take a vacation from it, because they're always in creation fascination mode, always doing what they want to do. And that's the life of an entrepreneur.
Well, the work-life balance, a lot of people are striving for, but maybe they're not really getting it. Because they are, as entrepreneurs, when they are first, getting out, it's almost this belief that they've got to struggle, they've got to work hard for what they want. And it's not necessarily so, is it? It's about working smarter. So how has your outlook on emotional fitness, how are you implementing that with your clients to help them?
Well, I think first of all, I think that passion is a place where people start. And I think when I hear the word work-life balance, it's a code word for me to say that I don't love what I'm doing. Because the idea is, why would you not want to try to design a life if possible? And it's aspiration. So I'm not saying it's easy, and it's always, you're never there. You're always striving. But the idea is that if you were loving what you were doing in your business life, and then as soon as that was over, you loved what you were doing, you got to go to your kid's football game, or you got to go to, do something, go to a concert that you want to do, whatever you love to do. And you were doing that all day, every day, just going from one thing you love to something you love more. That's a truly purposeful life, as opposed to, I think, a work-life balance is a code word for me to say, hey, I don't love what I'm doing, so I'm waiting to get to the weekend, or I'm waiting to get to my vacation, or I'm waiting to get for retirement. And what's clear to me is, if you were in a room, Karen, of business owners, and you say to them, how many of you are entrepreneurs? Almost all the hands go up. But I would say less than 5% of that room is entrepreneurs. Most of them are getting paid for what they do, not what they know. They're they don't really have a business. They bought themselves a job. And so part of that is trying to help them be more entrepreneurial, or be able to build a business where they can work on their unique ability most of the time, and be able to either bring in other people or delegate those other things they're not great at to other folks. And so that's one of the things I think we work at, is that ultimately, I think there's a study I was reading that 98% of all businesses never go to the next generation. They're never legacy businesses. And that's because most business owners can't leverage and scale, because they're still getting paid for what they do.
Yeah, they've just come from employee to business owner, but like you say, they've just bought themselves a full-time job, and some, right? Rather than scaling it.
Which is why I think, with your focus on real estate, I think that real estate is such an important component, not the only component, but the only component, because I think there's a couple of rules of money. The first rule is your money has to work while you sleep. And your company has to produce revenue without you doing the do. And so, I've said for 35 years, I've said money markets, CDs, IRAs, 401ks, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, blah, blah, blah. Most of our clients have some or all those assets. Most of our clients will have some or all those assets all their life. But at best, they're inflation adjusted holding tanks. If Bill Gates was on the phone today, he wouldn't say I'm worth $110 billion because my mutual funds, or my retirement account. True wealth is created in one of three areas. It's investing in your business or some other operating company. It's investing in real estate. It's financing deals. I'll leave out divorce and inheritance. And that's the way. And that's the way people, that's the only ways to create wealth. You're not going to save your way to wealth, which is why I don't care if you make a salary that's in the millions of dollars, the millions of pounds. By the time you pay the tax on it and live and put a few bucks away, at best you can hope for a comfortable retirement plan, but you're not going to create multi-generational wealth, or it's highly unlikely.
So what advice would you give to, say, somebody, even if they are in the business of real estate themselves, but maybe they're not producing extraordinary amounts yet? What advice would you give somebody like that to start creating wealth, what would be the best thing for them to start with?
Well, I think you're getting me. We just had that #1 bestseller. It came out last year on Amazon, The Ultimate Investment. But the book I'm working on right now is we've trademarked the pyramid to create multi-generational wealth. And if you think about the pyramid, at the bottom of the pyramid is protection first. Don't tell me you've not put you don't have your real estate in proper LLCs. Don't tell me you don't have health insurance. Don't tell me you don't have life or disability insurance. Don't tell me you have not done everything you can to put a moat around your castle. If you go up the pyramid, though, cash confidence is the next thing, meaning you want the #1 reason why a business fails or does not reach its full potential is because there's not enough cash confidence. And so one of the things is you want to help people create enough liquidity, because the business and the life doesn't go like this. It goes like this. And the idea is you have to have cash so that you can have a long-term plan, so that if you have a bad quarter or even a bad year, your company and your plan doesn't get off track. And the other thing is I've created an awful lot of my wealth when I had cash and somebody else needed money. And so the idea is for both opportunities and emergencies, cash confidence is paramount to success. When you see a company, every time you see a company in trouble, or they have to lay off people, or they have to delay their success because they just don't have cash confidence. The next level is you want to feed your money machine. And so the idea to me is if you have $1 and only $1 to invest, you want to feed your money machine. You want to grow the asset value of your business. You want to also grow the cash flow from that business. You never want to starve your business. And by the way, for people that are watching the podcast, Karen, that don't have a business, they can be the product. You invest in yourself, and you put that, instead of putting that money in the stock market, you put that money in you and invest it so you can help build your network, or go back to school and get another degree, or learn something technical that you need, or learn something about leadership so that you can have the next job and see yourself not where you are now, but where the next role is, and to your highest potential. And then beyond that, what we try to talk to people about is we think that there are, as a wealth manager, there's dozens and dozens of asset classes. But for our purpose, we say there's only two, and we call them either paychecks. We call them paychecks, or either free capital or play checks. And we want our clients to create a series of assets that will give them a guaranteed or highly reliable stream of income. And so that ultimately they do not have to live from their job or from their business, because they have passive income coming from these paychecks. And then we want them to have another series of assets as you go up the pyramid, called play checks or free capital, where they can spend it, they can save it, they can give it away. But the important thing is it will not be responsible for producing income for their family. So if you have both paychecks and play checks, you have financial freedom. But there's still one more level. If you can have earned income beyond normal retirement age. So when your friends are going to early bird specials, or they're drinking in domestic beer instead of imported beer, or they're worried about living too long, or whatever their jam is, you could be a net saver in your 50s, 60s, and 70s because you have earned income from your company. Too many people sell their company, pay a bunch of tax on it, and then give that money to somebody like me and says, let's replace that income, where the after-tax cash flow is worth a fraction of what the cash flow from the business is worth. And so maintaining all or some of that business is often something that we look at to help create multi-generational wealth.
Amazing insights. I'm sure the listeners are going to love that. And it is all about diversifying, not relying on a one income or one stream of income, but having many, and having, talking about passive income. That is going to be the goal for most people. So look, you've gone from publishing best-selling books to hosting a top-rated podcast. What drives you to share knowledge like this and insights with such a wide audience?
I don't know about you, Karen, but I'm always at my best when I'm helping others. I just think that's a higher calling or a higher purpose, and that ultimately, as I said earlier, I always say I grew up dumb and broke in Suffern, New York. But the idea is that I think that the reason the great abundance has come to me has been, because I've worked very hard. I mean, I'm not going to say that didn't have anything to do with it. But I think there's an immutable law in the universe that says the more you give, the more is given. And you don't know how it works, and it's sometimes counterintuitive. But I think when you wake up every day and just try to make a difference in the lives of the people you touch, you try to help folks every day, for some reason you have an army of people that want to come and help you. And there's a law. I don't know what it is. You want to call it karma. You want to call it any one of another number of different acronyms. But I think but I would think that ultimately that I find what I can control is that I can give to other people, and I can try to help them. And that seems to be the satisfying thing. It's not about all the, when I look back, and you look back on my career, which is going on almost 40 years, is I don't look back at all the money I've made, or all the houses I bought, or all the things we've accomplished financially. I kind of look back at the different at the things we've done to help people. And by the way, there's a multiplier effect about it, because if I can help you, I know you're out there every day helping a lot of other people. So directly, I might have helped you, or you might have helped me. But if you and I collaborate together, imagine all the other people that get help because of the work we do together.
Absolutely. The ripple effect. That's what it's all about, because this stuff isn't being taught in schools, is it? I know we're other sides of the pond, but it's the same here. Everybody is taught to take a job, to get a paycheck, rather than creating generational wealth. So your message does need to get out there, because people are just not hearing it anywhere else, right?
Going back to what you do, which I think is so critical, to people, is, I grew up with the expression that I still believe in, which says it's not what you know, it's who you know. So obviously, over 40 years, a lot of my business has become, not only what do I think, but who do I know, and who can I help collaborate or connect people with. But I think it's what the higher level of that. It's not just what you know or who you know, it's who knows what you know. And so the idea is, how do we expand that? So one of the reasons that I think what you do as a podcast coach is so important is it helps expand the funnel of people that know. So when somebody says to me, how do you grow your business? And they say to me, I grow my business by referral or introduction. It tells me generally two things. One is their clients or customers probably like them, but they're growing very slowly. So if you can, by writing a book or getting a podcast or being on social media or learning how to speak, having your version of a TED Talk or an elevator speech or something where you can find, so that more people can find out the great work that Karen Roberts does, or Mark Murphy does, or the person that's watching this podcast does. How do we get more people and more eyes on you? And then I think it goes even one more step. Is I decided probably 35 plus years ago that I wanted to be a hero to entrepreneurs and entrepreneurial thinking people. And so I basically created a business where I just collaborate with people that want to be a hero to the same group. And or in our vernacular, it's clients, where our clients can see that us collaborating together is something special. They immediately recognize that. And what we do is try to help them not have a level playing field, or not have them run straight downhill, but we want to help them aspire to play in a competition-free zone, where the only place they can get that experience is by working with us. And I think that everybody's watching that is, how do we help you create that competition-free zone, so that whatever you're doing in your business, that you're the only logical choice for the people that are your hero targets.
Absolutely. Love that. And it is all about collaboration. Nobody gets there by themselves. The ones that say they do, I would maybe suggest they're not telling the whole truth. It's all about collaboration. It's all about building relationships. Yes, which is exactly why I'm so passionate about podcasting, because you get to create content and build relationships at the same time. So that's what we're passionate about, helping anybody involved in the real estate business. So once more, what is the name of your podcast? You did mention that you're just about to release season 3.
It's the Hero of the Hour podcast. And now my wife is going to be my co-host because she's the talent. In fact, I had to laugh. The first season we did was the first season. I used to say the tagline of our podcast was the Hero of the Hour podcast, the only podcast you can't understand, because I was such a terrible host. And I have now worked my way up to mediocre or listen, or at least listenable or watchable. So
I
I'm hoping
uh,
season 3, especially with Lisa, will be dynamic. That's our goal.
Oh, he's humble too. See, he's very humble too. And so, what's next for Mark? What are your goals for this year?
Um, Lisa and I have 5 children together, and so I think you get to a point where it's not about you anymore.
Hmm.
It's about that ultimately your success will be turning out 5 healthy, uh, productive people that are thoughtful, respectful, hardworking. That's something I think about a lot, and I think about that a lot for all of my friends and family and clients. Is how do we help them pass it down to the next generation? I think that gets me excited. And I think the other thing is uh, you want to do things that will make a difference. And I'm very involved in politics in the States, but I'm not sure if that's the place, a partisan politics where you can make a difference for everybody. So, like as an
Hmm.
example, one of the things that Lisa and I are very passionate about is we were able to meet. She was able to meet, and she and I at a board meeting were able to meet Todd Wagner, who does Food Fight USA.
Hmm.
That's the name of his company. And what they're doing is they're getting all of the red dyes and yellow dyes and all the toxic things out of food. And so, so things that's not a partisan issue. The only people that are against things like that are the manufacturers who put all those bad stuff and preservatives in the food.
Hmm.
So, there's more shelf life, but we're killing our people in this country and around the world. And so the idea is I want to find more things like that where we can make a difference, or at least play our small role at doing things that whether you're a conservative or a liberal, a Democrat or a Republican, a God fearing, an atheist, a deist, or whatever, a Buddhist, you believe that this is something that can unite us, because I think in this world there's just too many things that we use to divide us
Oh,
and come together. And I'd love to be able to work on more issues where people from all walks of life could come together and say we can work together on a common good. And so I'd like to not only, I know Lisa's very passionate about this, and I certainly am too, but I want to find more things like that where we can make a difference.
wonderful. Lovely. Well, if any of the listeners, well, if they'd like to get in touch, they want to know more, they want to know, they would like to, be involved so that they can maybe even learn about creating more generational wealth or investing. How do they reach you? Where do they find you? How can they
Well,
reach
if,
out
if
to
they'd
you?
like if they'd like a signed autographed copy of that my latest book, The Ultimate Investment, they can and you can put that up on the screen. I think it's books at northeastprivateclientgroup.com. And I am, our corporate headquarters is in Florham Park, New Jersey. We also have offices in New York and in California, but our headquarters is in Florham Park. And I'd love to chat to anybody who'd like to have a discussion. And I just appreciate you having me on your show. You are unlike myself. You are a wonderful podcast host, and I'm proud to be on this. I'm proud to be on your show.
Oh, bless you. Well, no, thank you very much. And to the listeners, the note, Mark's details will be in the show notes. So please revert back to those. And Mark, thank you so much for taking your time out today to speaking with me. And to the listeners, I'll be back next time with the Icons of Real Estate. Bye for now.